You both mentioned the integration of the guard and the props, and a lot of drill writers they really struggle with that, right? It's so hard. And you guys, of course, are masters. You've been doing this a really long time. But like, can we talk about that just a little bit more? Because people want to know, how do you figure out how to get the guard so nicely integrated without, killing people or hurting people, or whatever. And then the props seeming sort of natural parts of the way things are designed, as opposed to, like, a lot of one drill writer said to me, when I do props, I feel like it's a big obstacle I have to keep working about avoiding, as opposed to being integral. So I don't know, is there anything you can say about that for designers out there who are trying to figure out how to integrate better?
You got to mess it up first, just like anything. You know what I mean? We've had plenty of times where we've done things that we felt like, yep, that wasn't it. So that all goes into it. The guard, putting the guard into the positions that we do, that's one of those, like, don't try this at home moments. There are certainly things, there are spaces that we put our guard into that we wouldn't just give to anyone. You know what I mean? That takes the writers that we have, Tommy and Blake, doing what they do. That takes our staff and our guys having some of the courage to do what they do in the spaces that we give them. So literally, for me, that's not as much of an obstacle or challenge as it is like a cool thing to, it's like a new car to play with, right? So that's just largely because of our talent. It's the ability to say we can have them anywhere at any time.
And we do a little bit of that when we're mapping ideas out together about the drill. We're all, I'd say 50% of ideas start with the guard.
Yeah, that's true.
We will say,
we'll write that first. Yeah.
Let's get the guard where we need them, and then let's make sure the core. And then that's even when it also becomes difficult, because we want them there, but we don't want the core just off on the side, and we don't want this not integrated moment. We want these two things to coexist in that thought. So.
And that's something I never used to do. So I'm a musician first, right? And I would set those things up first and then put the guard in. And ultimately, you're going to end up with something that's not as interdependent, codependent. So there are several times now in my process where where do we want the guard to be? Who do we need to focus with? Who needs to be with what? And then we go from there. And it doesn't slight the musical staging either. It's just about making sure that that's foremost in our mind. And the props, it's interesting. I'm thinking this as I'm writing band drills too. It's like, what's cool about what we all do with props now is it gives every stage a unique feel. You know what I mean? Like, every show has a prop setup that is different, or a prop thing that functionality that is different, and then that motivates ideas in a different way. And I'm sitting here thinking, as I write these shows, man, if I just had the blank palette, it would be even more challenging to create all the different looks that you want to create, because the props give you that. So it's learning how to use it as an advantage.
Right, because I mean, everyone wants to yell at drum corps and guards or all that we're doing with props, but I write drill too, and I always like it because it always gives me an impetus. It's always giving me some thought. I can put this line off of the prop. I can build this idea around it. And I find, even when I stage winter guards too, what's hard is when I just have this blank slate, then it's kind of like, well, I guess we could do, it feels like that Seinfeld episode where he keeps asking, hey, I could build the cabinets this way, but I could build the cabinets this way. And I'm always like, what I love is when we do have this setup, we're doing a group in Texas right now that has a really cool prop setup. And we love it because it's given us these incredible looks already early in the show. And yet we'll get together and draw 10 different looks we can get out of our prop look. That's kind of the way we start whenever we have a prop thing. We'll just draw all these pictures and say, that will be a great look with these props. That'll be a great look with these props. And it's true, when there's nothing like that. I tell a funny story a long time ago, working with someone, and I wanted some ideas from them as I was writing drill, and they just started talking about some esoteric thought, and then I went and listened to it for about 15 minutes, and then eventually I went, so you mean a block or a wedge? You know what I mean? Because it was like, God, you wanted an idea. You were trying to get someone to go, hey, you're not thinking this way, or hey, you're not thinking that way. And I think it shouldn't seem daunting. It should seem exciting when you have a prop and you're wondering, how do we use the stage? How do we use the stage uniquely? How do we make this thing a part of it, but not, because you also see a lot of people that have a prop on the field and they just can't get away from it, or they just can't really, they don't give themselves enough variety because they end up utilizing it very similarly too much.
Yeah, it's something to always think about with props. Sometimes bigger isn't better, especially when you're moving them. Because you start moving huge props, you can't get away from just watching it. Specific to the Cavaliers this year, a great example, something that kind of I've learned to do more. The way that we did the tarps, in each of the chunks we were doing them, I did the tarps first. So I knew, okay, this is going to take 120 counts for this over here, this web of tarps to open away from this cage. And then, so I just started with that, and then I wrote the drill to that. And that made it all, be what it was supposed to be. Same thing when we went to the other side of the field to do it. Okay, this one's going to take 80 counts. Let's do it over here. It's going to draw. We're going to react to it. So just both examples, I think, color guard and props, is find ways to write for them first, and then have your stage react to that.
Watch this entire video conversation at marchingartseducation.com, where you'll find many other free videos and live webinars. Take advantage of the great ideas and information available in videos and coursework to help you and your staff take your group to the next level.